What's up everyone? The numbers are dwindling down on Survivor 49 and tonight was the night where two Sophies became one. We've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your Survivor Breakdown. Right, before we get started, if you are new around here, yes, you, hi, hello, welcome, please hit the subscribe button. I'm here every single week breaking down Survivor, and I will be for Survivor 50 as well, the big 5-0 coming next year. Also, I'm joined by my wonderful spouse and partner in crime, Sam, every single week to discuss the amazing race, so make sure you don't miss an episode of that by hitting the subscribe button. Plus, there's plenty more reality TV coverage coming in the new year, so make sure you are tuned in for that. I'm also going to ask you all to hit the like button. It takes all the 0.2 seconds just to click that little thumbs up down there. Really helps me out. Let's beat the beast. And the beast is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, folks. Two things there. Subscribe, like. Let's get to the breakdown. Alright gang, come on in, take a seat, grab yourselves a nice drink, whether it's coffee or water or soda or maybe something a little bit more exciting. Welcome, come on. I hope everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving. I certainly did. I ate lots and lots of good food. I would be lying if I said I still haven't had any pie this morning. We had plenty of leftover pie. That's one thing you Americans do good, lots of different pies. We had maple pie, apple pie. What other pies did we have? There was plenty of pies. Pumpkin pie. Oh man. Thanksgiving. I love the food so much, and it was so lovely to be around some good family as well. Yeah, guys, I hope you all had a great one too. But we're back. We're here to talk about Survivor, and we're heading towards the end of the season right now. And I don't know. I'm more invested in this as the numbers dwindle down. I found my interest on this season go up, down, back up again. We're up right now. So we'll see how the end game plays out. But I did really enjoy last night's episode. I always endeavour to be as honest as possible with my reviews rather than just coming on here saying I loved every single second of it, because that's bollocks. There are parts I enjoy and there are parts I don't, and I will review the hell out of both of them. But I think we're at the stage of the game now where we can kind of break down people on a personal level, you know, like we can go one by one and talk about their game on an individual level, because there are less people in the game. It's more diluted now, so we can kind of see what's going on with every single person. And I think the first person to talk about would be somebody who I consider one of my favourites, easily in my top 3, Sage. I know she's got a lot of people who don't like her, but equally she's got a lot of people who do ride for her. I see Sage as the person this season who is, I don't know. Do you know how a lot of the times when you watch these shows, you know, you got a lot of these people coming and going, I want to get Instagram followers. I want to come across really well. I want to do, you know, they're not saying it, but they're thinking it. Sage couldn't give a damn. And I love that for her. She's authentic. And that's the kind of person I always like. If you've followed my Big Brother coverage over the years, you'll know that I follow the person, even if they're a little jagged around the edges, whether it be Angela or Tucker or anyone like that. That's the person I root for. Why? Because they are themselves. And I like people who are themselves and not trying to create a character, not trying to force a character, not trying to put it on too much. You know, Angela, she's obnoxious as hell, but she's fantastic entertainment. You know, she is all those people couldn't stand living with Angela. They couldn't. I mean, and listen, I think I would enjoy living with her in Big Brother, just because of her entertainment value. But she is herself, and that's why she's an icon. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me there, but hey ho. Sage is herself. She's in a tough position in the game right now. She's definitely on the out. Let's just rip the band-aid off. Do I think Sage is going to win? No, I don't. I really don't think Sage can win at all. I don't think she has enough wiggle room, and I don't know if she has the guts to create the wiggle room, right? Because that's always the thing that comes to mind when people go, there's no room, there's no rope, I can't pull anything. And then the next natural step is create the room, create the rope. But I don't know if Sage has got that drive to do that. So unfortunately, I'm kind of like... Now, next we're going to talk about Soph. Blue Sophie, under many hats at this point. I love Sophie. I think she's fantastic. Sorry, Soph. We have to go with Soph. I was reading online. Here's a little bit of inside tea for y'all. Where Blue Sophie, both she and other Sophie apparently asked Jeff when they got to the merge, hey, can I be Blue Sophie and you be Yellow Sophie? Which I think is easier to remember than Sophie and Soph. And Jeff apparently said no, it would cause too much confusion. So naturally, Jeff went with the idea of Soph and Sophie. 2 letters difference. Can someone check on that man? Is Jeff okay? Should he be in a retirement home right now? I could talk about this other. I think Jeff's destroying the show, if I'm being totally honest. Slowly. It's like watching a slow, painful death of something that you love dearly. I know a lot of people don't go on here and speak about that, but I'll say it. I think Jeff is incredibly out of touch as a producer, and I think he's catering towards, I don't know, an audience that doesn't exist, or a very, very small portion of the audience. And I think I've seen a lot of people saying sometimes it's like, he's trying to be Oprah almost. Nobody can be Oprah but Oprah, right? But Jeff's like, you get a banana and you get some spaghetti and everyone, come on, spaghetti. It's so weird. Like, stop, Jeff. And I don't know. He's out of touch there. I think Blue Sophie and Yellow Sophie would have worked a lot better. But yeah, I could go on all day and do a full-on analysis about what I think about Jeff doing the show, because I'm a super fan. I love Survivor. I remember vote-offs from early in the days. I remember alliances from early in the days. I just love this show, and I don't like what it's became. Or not necessarily don't like what it's became, but more so I have gripes with it now. But one of the things that's just a minuscule thing. I'm with Sophie B. I think Blue Sophie and Yellow Sophie would have worked better. But Sophie is in an interesting position, the swing position, where, she's not necessarily... She's committed herself to Rizzo and Savannah, but she keeps her head above the water and goes, I need to cut them at some point. And there was a lot of conflict this episode in her head of, is this the one? Is this the one where I pull the trigger and turn on them? And, the edit was making you think it, but my gut, I still think Savannah's going to win the whole game, so I didn't think it was going to happen. And... I don't know. Sophie's I would have said was in the best position in the tribe. I love Sophie so much, but I think this should have been the one where she turned on Savannah and Rizzo. I do. Because now I just think they're off to the races. I do. And, Sophie's aware of that. So, Sophie's aware that she can't, or she doesn't want to be with Savannah in the end. But why keep giving her time? At least cut Rizzo and Savannah in half. Get rid of Rizzo, and then take care of Savannah later down the line. But I don't know. It's tough now, because I've seen a lot of people on social media, on the Survivor streets, I don't know, the Big Brother streets there, saying, Sophie, even though she's in this power position, which is the middle, it's starting to come across like a bit wishy-washy. And then when she gets to FTC, is she going to be able to turn around and go, I did this. I still think Sophie has a fantastic case. I'm not with those people, but I am absolutely terrified of, I think the worst case scenario for Sophie is Savannah gets to the end, and as much as I love Sophie, I think Savannah is going to get to the end, and that's going to be the detriment to Sophie's game, which rips my heart off, because she's my favourite by far. But whatever, get over it, Tom. I don't know. We'll see how that one pans out over the next few weeks. But Sophie's in an interesting position there. We should talk about Savannah and Rizzo, shouldn't we? Since I brought them up there. Savannah, I feel like I'm watching somebody go. Game, set, match. Game, set, match. Say it with me. Everyone, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Game, set, match. Savannah's won it. Gonna take a sip from my water. Savannah has won Survivor 49. I've never been so confident about a Survivor win. Ever. Truly, I mean that. Rizzo, unsure. He could make it far. He might make it to FTC. He might get cut just before. Savannah has won. Once again. Game, set. Wait for it. Match. Now, we saw a journey this episode which saw strenuous activity take place. Immediately I said no and went to get some Ben & Jerry's out of the freezer. Stephen decided to go on this one. And boy, oh boy, was it a tough one. Ooh, I would have maybe found one of the chords. Maybe two. Turn around and guess the rest. That was, Stephen, let's remind everybody, he had to run around the entire island grabbing codes along the way. And then these codes would, help him get this advantage that he ended up getting. So first of all, I think a bravo to Stephen because he managed to do that. Absolutely incredible. I think he's somebody who, he isn't super athletic, but he just kept telling himself, put one foot in front of the other and don't stop. We've all been to that point. I remember doing cross country when I was in school. Oh boy. And there'd be times where your body would just be completely depleted, and it would be more like a robot is operating the inside, or like you've got Remy from Ratatouille pulling your hair, and saying one more foot, to the point where you almost feel like you're going to stumble over. And Stephen did that multiple times. The body was dead, but the legs were still going. And hats off to him for that, because that's absolutely incredible. He managed to get a block of vote. Very, very cool, because what ensued afterwards with Rizzo on the hunt, oh my word, he was like a dog with a bone. Rizzo is so smug and overconfident, isn't he? He was turning around to Stephen saying, I know what you've got. I know exactly what you've got. I never like it when people... this is just a personal thing of mine as well. And it's always a tell as well when I'm watching these reality shows. When people state their opinion as a fact, they tend to be quite deluded. I've experienced that in life, and I've experienced that watching these shows, and 9 times out of 10 that is the case. And Rizzo is the kind of guy who states his opinion as a fact in the game. I don't know what he's like in real life, but in the game, he'll go around and go, yes, you've got this. I know you've got this. It's a matter of a fact. I know you've got to steal a vote. But no, you don't, bro. We, as the viewers, watching Stephen, the little smirk come over his face. Oh, my word. Rizzo is overconfident. It makes the most sense. It just makes the most sense. Why, Rizzo? Because it's in his mind. That's why it makes the most sense. I don't know about that. I'm glad Stephen had him wriggling a little bit. And Stephen was acknowledging that. He was saying, I kind of like the fact that his cogs are going dun 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 and going into overtime, because Stephen has talked about how he's been in a position where he's kind of felt like, he's bouncing and there isn't much room to maneuver. And then with this thing now, because people are panicked a bit and like, oh, I don't know what to do there, they are kind of worried now. So well done, Stephen. That's just fantastic. He had a great episode. I think arguably he had the best episode out of everyone, because not only did he get that advantage, he went on to win immunity as well. Absolutely incredible. Well done, Stephen. Can we all just give a round of applause for Stephen for a second? Because I think he did absolutely fantastic this episode. He should be so, so proud of himself on the small off chance that Stephen is watching right now, which is very, very small. Stephen, I'm so proud of you, buddy. You smashed that. And I want to see you make a far. You are one of the people I really like this season. And I don't know. You just seem like a very down-to-earth, nice guy. And... you seem like you love the game, and I love that for you. So well done, Stephen. Now, Stephen had the choice to bring 2 people on reward with him to feast with the gods, and he, of course, brought Christina. I don't think that was a surprise to anyone, and he, of course... And he also brought Rizzo. I think that one raised a few more eyebrows than the Christina one. But yeah, I don't know. Rizzo did what Rizzo does, and he talked and just kind of went on. And Stephen was even talking about as well earlier with how the advantage, how Rizzo kind of goes from like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, to meet mob. You have advantage. I must eliminate advantage. And that's kind of how Rizzo comes out. And I know I've talked over the weeks. I've said, I'm worried about if Rizzo gets to the end. I don't know if the jury will respect him. And I've seen, I think, maybe 1 or 2 people turn around and go, Tom, I think your read's wrong. And I love a little bit of disagreement. I do, I love how people can have different viewpoints. It's great. And, as long as they're not harming anyone. And I'm doubling down, much to the disappointment of those comments. I'm doubling down and saying this is what I mean when I think people will have a lack of sympathy and empathy towards giving Rizzo a vote at the end, because he is quite meat mob, in terms of his gameplay. Now, I do think that is New Era as a whole, but the problem with it is the fact that even though people are more robotic in New Era, people act like it's all, I love you all, I love you all, I love you all, I've known you for 3 days. But, the reality of it is people are still butthurt no matter how much they like to act like everything's fine and dandy, like a corporate millennial retreat like Survivor New Era is. Team building. And that's why I still think that'll blur into the vote, and that's why I don't think Rizzo will win. I'm standing on business. In fact, I'm going to stand up, even though you'll just see my torso right now. I am standing on business. Now, when it came to the vote, things started to get a little bit more spicy because Rizzo wanted Yellow Sophie out. Bollocks to it, I'm sticking to that. I'm doing what the Sophies want. Wanted Yellow Sophie out, and Yellow Sophie, oh my word. Can we talk about her for a second? Why hasn't she had more airtime in the pre-merge? That wasn't as succinct as I thought it would be. She should have been in the pre-merge way more. Just an invisible edit. Out of touch again, because Sophie's been such a integral part of the merge. It's funny because, Christina, she got a lot of airtime in the pre-merge, and she's doing nothing. She's doing nothing. Again, I think Joanne got a lot of airtime in the pre-merge, but again, he spent his merge time talking about how he's running the game only to be sent out third or fourth in the jury stages of the game. I saw somebody talking about this the other day about how all the New Era players come in and act like they're masterminds of the game, but they all just kind of play them out, and Joanne is evidence of that. But then Sophie, who has absolutely been a dominant force, she has been a hurricane in the merge, and she got little to no airtime. Odd decision, very odd decision. But yeah, Sophie and the other Sophie Squared, they tried to get together, and because Sophie B, so Blue Sophie, is great at rallying the troops and getting information from people because she's kind of sitting in the middle, and people trust Sophie. People need Sophie's vote, so therefore they are willing to tell her more than anybody else. And Sophie, Blue Sophie, threw Yellow Sophie under the bus to Rizzo, saying she wants Savannah out, and Rizzo's face went, meep mop. Operation Terminate Sophie. Yellow Sophie, not Blue Sophie. And that's kind of what happened there. It was, Blue Sophie. She was in the swing position. Really, really about what she wanted to do, because the tribe is kind of split down the middle, more so or less. And, Sophie's in a fantastic position, but again, that's going to draw more and more attention to her over the last couple episodes. I'm scared. If I'm being totally honest, because anyways, Sophie cemented it, making herself the only Sophie left in the game after she voted Yellow Sophie out. Yellow Sophie was hoodwinked, but she took it very, very well. I'm interested though. Everyone always takes it well on camera in the New Era, but I think Ponderosa is a different story, hence why they don't have it anymore. But I don't know. Sophie B, Blue Sophie, I always expected her to be the last Sophie standing, rightfully so. So join me, folks, as we salute to Sophie as the last Sophie on the beach. Well done, Sophie, Blue Sophie, Sophie B, Soph. Well done, Sophie. That is all of your Survivor breakdown for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. I missed you all. Sorry for not being there last week. We had family in town. I just want to soak up all the time with them, with several days of good food, good company. And then we were also out of town to go see more family as well. So it was a busy week, but we're back to business this week. So hi everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in to these Survivor updates. Hey, we're around the corner to Christmas, aren't we? Very, very excited about Christmas. Sam and I are gearing up to go and see my family in the UK. It's almost been a year since I have seen my family. I haven't talked about this on camera very much, but since we're so close to it now, I figured I'd talk about it. But I miss my family a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Yeah, it's the longest I've gone without seeing them. So very, very excited for that and for some time in the UK. We're very, very, very excited for that. And all roads lead to England right now, so we're looking forward to that. I hope you're all keeping very, very well out there. We've got a couple more updates before Christmas is here. We're heading towards the finale for both Amazing Race and Survivor, so if you've been watching both of those, lots of exciting content and reviews coming over the next couple of weeks, so I hope you're all going to stay tuned for that. You can actually click the notification bell down there to make sure that you get notified on your phone or your iPad or whatever you use every single time an upload goes up, so you don't miss it. I'm also very excited, just on a personal note. I don't know if there's anybody else out there who's a massive Avengers fan, but all of these rumours about Avengers Doomsday, oh my word, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the next week. I am So excited for that. Lots and lots of exciting stuff, folks, and I hope you're all keeping well. But I hope you're all staying safe, staying positive, and staying healthy out there. And remember to be kind to one another. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all of that wonderful stuff. But until your next Survivor Breakdown, I've been your host, Tom VASEY. Good night.